Hi, it's Elle here, and today I am going to be discussing planetary corporations and the secret space programs. I have gone back to watching Cosmic Disclosure. Emery Smith is now the host of it, so it's I'm enjoying the Emery Smith episodes where he's talking to Randy Kramer and interviewing Randy. So Randy claims to be from the USS Marine Corps. So he claims to have done almost a 20 and back on Mars. So that he was a captain and a pilot. And he is saying that he was asked by Emery to give a timeline for when disclosure will happen about ETs and the secret space programs. So what Randy said, that his brigadier general told him about 6 to 24 months time span for when some disclosure will happen. But the question is, what will be in the disclosure itself? What will be in the disclosure? What will be disclosed? Will the higher-ups tell us that ETs are real and that they exist? That they've been visiting Earth for thousands of years and still visiting us, and that they have bases on the moon, on Mars, underwater, under our oceans, that ETs are currently here walking among us. Will the disclosure include all of the SSP programs, Solar Warden, planetary corporations, Mars Defense Force, Earth Defense Force, Time Corporations, Dark Fleet Nachtwaffen, Black Sun. So those are some of the factions of the SSP that I know about. And I served with planetary corporations in the cybernetics labs on Mars. That's the one I know of, and I've also served with Nachtwaffen. I served with the Nachtwaffenregier group, which is, they have some people who speak Spanish in that particular group of Nachtwaffen. So there's several different groups that operate in the SSPs, and through the hypnosis notes, through self-hypnosis, I know about planetary corporations and what they do, the secret space programs. I know about the Time Corporations, Time Corp, because Time Corporations, they supply all the time travel tech to planetary corporations, so to make the 60 and back be a feasible program. It's the Quantum Leap time travel program. So that's what I know of. The Time Corp does the time travel stuff and some of the portal technologies. That's what it supplies to planetary corporations. But they also have their own FTL drive ships faster than light speed, beyond the speed of light. So planetary corporations do make those types of ships beyond the speed of light. They have FTL drives. Randy mentioned that the program he's with, they weren't developing the FTL drives, that they're starting to do that now on their ships. But planetary corporations have had FTL capabilities for a long time. And they're constantly developing newer ships that go beyond the speed of light. So that's something I have to add to Randy's disclosure. And when I typed in planetary corporations and secret space programs, I wanted to see what's out there on the internet about this disclosure. And I'm wondering if planetary corporations will even be disclosed. If the disclosure that Randy is discussing, that'll happen, supposed to happen in 6 to 24 months, what will be part of that disclosure? I think that they'll disclose Solar Warden, and that ETs are real and out there to some extent, there'll be disclosure about ETs. They'll disclose that the TR-3B has been around and that there's they're working on anti-gravity generators in the TR-3B, that the US Navy has had that for a while. I think that will be disclosed. I, for one, particularly don't think they'll disclose planetary corporations and what goes on there, or even Nachtwaffen. I think the basic program that will be disclosed is Solar Warden, because that's the lowest program on the totem pole of various factions in the SSP. It's Solar Warden. And they do have ships that are interplanetary. They can go in this solar system and galaxy and a little bit beyond. But Planetary Corporations takes care of the time travel stuff because they're supplied by Time Corp, and they do the Beyond the Speed of Light craft. They build that. That's Planetary Corporations. So that's technology 200 years more advanced than what we have on Earth and some of the other programs have, the factions of the programs. So Planetary Corp is constantly expanding its infrastructure, especially the ships and the various genetic stuff, biological drugs, serums. They're constantly improving things and expanding in technology and medicine. So that's what they do. So when I had a look on the internet, when I typed in Planetary Corporations, and again, secret space programs, this is the disclosure that I found. This guy at Ecom Man posted on Interstellar some of the stuff that Penny, Bradley, and I had been discussing in our interviews and in some of my presentations. So he took notes of that, and this is very accurate information, exactly as from my presentation. Many presentations, and this stuff came out of my self-hypnosis notes. So he decided to do a report on it, and this was a post from 2 years ago. So this is very accurate disclosure that came from my presentations and my hypnosis notes. So, and he titled it Planetary Corporations and the Secret Space Programs. So even though I think the disclosure that'll come to 6 to 24 months down the road won't include anything about planetary corporations, it's still out there on the internet, so you guys can see what Penny and I have been talking about and disclosing of what we know, because we've served on Mars. Both Penny and I have memories of serving on Mars as part of our SSP service. So there's many forms of disclosure out there, but this is mine and Penny's disclosure from our interviews and from my presentations that found its way into this person's blog. And I'm very happy that he put this together. These are very good notes, so I'm going to talk about this disclosure and how it might measure up against what comes out 24 months down the road, because I like to compare and contrast. Maybe planetary corporations will be discussed and disclosed. Who knows? But this disclosure is what Penny and I have to offer from our own experiences. Being in the SSPs, me doing the 60 and back, and Penny doing her SSP stuff in Nachtwaffen, and also being on Mars. So the blogger starts off with, this info comes from some newer folks coming out of the secret space programs, not related to the same intel coming from Corey Good or Emery Smith. I believe more and more SSP assets will start remembering and coming out in the light as well. Can you say disclosure in big capital letters? The technology the SSP programs have gotten from ETs in exchange for human cyborg slaves is beyond the belief structure of Earth-based humans. Planetary corporations have reverse engineered some ET technologies, and also in exchange for things they've done for ETs, they've gotten biological drug serums and advanced technologies for space stuff. Yes, they have gotten that from ETs, but they've been making their own for a very long time. Just to clarify that. Planetary Corporations has its own infrastructure. They no longer need to reverse engineer other ETs, craft, and medicines. They can do their own, and they do in their own labs. They have their own aerospace labs. They have their own cybernetics labs. They have their own research facilities. They have all of that in their Mars infrastructure, and also a couple of the space station platforms that are cloaked in the Mars vicinity, orbiting Mars. And those space station platforms are manned. They have weapons on them. They can be moved because they have planetary engines. Just to clarify that, to add to this. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. Time travel through man-made time dilation portals and clockworks devices, or through naturally opening energetic portals that open on planets. And these are activated with SSP asset psychic abilities, as well as the technology provided by the time corporations. Soul transference between bodies with soul trap technology operated by electromagnetic stasis fields. Yes, that's the soul transfer technology, or the soul trap technology. That exists, and that's also possible because Planetary Corporations has been able to extract souls from their bodies for a long time, put it into an electromagnetic stasis field, or put it into some kind of a other holding option. So the soul transference technology has been around for a while. You can have it in a huge electromagnetic stasis field container, hold the soul, or you can hold it in a regeneration tank. There's different ways of doing that, and in order to transfer souls into clones, the human biological cyborgs, or even in your own body, sometimes you get a soul swap. You get somebody else's soul put in your body, and your soul is put into somebody else's organic body. That's something else that's done with this soul transfer technology. Any kind of biological vessel can be used for soul transfer. So as long as they know your frequency and they have your memories on file in the Planetary Corporation's databases, soul swapping is very easy to do. That's one of their most advanced technologies that they have. Regeneration that can bring you back from the dead. Regeneration tanks with different green and blue goos. Holographic medical pods and portable Meditech units. I've discussed that quite a bit and very often. So that's something I've disclosed in my various presentations. And that information I got from my hypnosis notes in various hypnosis sessions, self-hypnosis. Personal cloaking devices, smart suits with electromagnetic fields to shield against energy weapons and projectile bullets. That's also in my presentations. Devices that allow SSP assets to alter their DNA and genetic body structures on the molecular level to temporarily transform into other ETs and have their genetic stock in your body system. This can be achieved with drug serums or shape-shifting devices. Personal portal tech like Stargate platforms or naturally opening teleportation portals that are opened with psychic abilities. Monarch Solutions does that for training future SSP assets. Some of this is done in remote areas on Earth, near forested areas or mountains, and they break you down, build you back up mentally and physically. You're traumatized, you're broken, then you're put back together and you're transferred to Mars facilities or Moon facilities for the SSP programs. For me, Monarch Solutions was the first thing, then the SSP stuff. Directed energy weapons that cause internal bleeding or cancer. These weapons have invisible laser frequency fields. That's called DUEs. Warp drives and crystalline-based engines or plasma cores to travel beyond the speed of light or for interdimensional travel. Access to the wormhole system of the galaxy or the cosmic web of space, teleportation energy transfer hubs, replicators for food or any other 3D material you want, zero-point energy and clean energy that can remove pollution and terraform planets or moon systems. Note, the tech in Star Trek is even behind what is available to the more advanced groups like the Planetary corporations and Nachtwaffen. Sources of information, Penny Bradley and LK from the Secret Space Program group. There have been some changes to the Secret Space Program groups. There's more than one Secret Space Program group now. We each are admins in our own respective groups and each other's groups, Penny and I. And we welcome SSP experiencers, abductees, contactees, ET abductees, contactees, and people that generally want to know about the secret space programs, who are curious about this stuff. We welcome them in our groups, and you can come and learn as you wish, as long as you're respectful and decent and don't fight with us, don't argue with group members, don't start things, that are disruptive and mean and petty in the groups. Because we have a zero tolerance policy for bullying or attacking others or asking for proof. And we don't do for money posts or anything like that, or religion or politics or weapons or cussing. We do have some group rules, basic rules for any type of group to follow different social media guidelines. So we do admin work, and we monitor the groups to make sure that everybody feels safe in these groups and that nothing leaves the group, because these groups are closed. So it's important to maintain people's anonymity and safety precautions. That's very important to us, for Penny Bradley and me, LK, as admin of these groups. And this is the disclosure that we have about planetary corporations and the secret space programs. So anybody who's out there who's listening, we do have other new groups about the SSP that you're more than welcome to come and check out. Penny has Secret Solar Civilizations, and I have Secret Space Programs, interviews, and roundtables. So anybody who's interested, please come and have a look and check us out. We're always happy to have new group members, and we're always happy to explore SSP topics, topics about ETs, advanced technologies, etc., etc. So please come and hang out. You know where we are. And there's also the main Secret Space Program group as well. But Penny has her own, and so do I. We like to expand our viewpoints and our horizons, and we like to branch out. So I've had the Secret Space Program interviews and roundtables for like 2 years, that group. Penny has had Secret Solar Civilizations for a couple of years as well. We just like to make sure that everybody's welcome and everybody's safe in these groups. And we do follow the rules. The admin followed the same rules as everybody else in these groups. and we just keep the peace because we just want to safely and respectfully maintain these groups and honor what we do in the groups. So that's what that is all about. So thank you so much. And I just wanted to compare and contrast the disclosure that Penny and I have about planetary corporations and the secret space programs, what we've discussed in our own interviews together and separately, and what I've had in my presentations. These are our experiences, personal experiences. This data doesn't come from anybody else on the internet but us. It exclusively comes from Penny and me through the various interviews, talks that we've had, me and her, and my presentations. This information doesn't come from Corey Good or Emery Smith. They have their own disclosures that they've done separately, respectively, that should be honored and respected, because they've both contributed quite a lot about disclosing. Corey Good about the secret space programs and Emery Smith about the Black Ops programs. And that information compares and contrasts pretty close to what Planetary Corporations does. I suspect that maybe Emery has worked with Planetary Corporation's assets on certain projects. Maybe he wasn't aware of that the origin is Planetary Corporations, but the facilities and technology, I think, have come from Planetary Corporations that Emery worked on and was involved in. Maybe he's not aware of it, but the source is Planetary Corporations for the various ET samples of body parts and what he was dissecting, tissues and body parts from ETs. I suspect that was supplied by Planetary Corporations to the Black Ops groups here on Earth in the underground bases and labs. Because that's Planetary Corporations does provide different types of ET bodies and even human bodies that have been augmented and biological cyborgs to be studied, so that they come in stasis pods. They can be shifted from planet to planet, facility to facility. So I wouldn't be surprised if Emery got some of the body samples from Planetary Corporations to study and figure out. That's quite plausible, logical that that could have happened. So thank you so much, and namaste.